2, 3.
Before this day is done, you will beg me to let you join us.
Welcome to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Thank you for joining us. You don't have to beg. You can.
I tell you, there's a special type of scenery being chewed by that voice actor in this episode, and I'm here for. I love it. I think it's great. He's almost like a Shakespeare villain, like Puck or something.
What are you doing here?
Well, we're here to host. I am your host.
That little tin horn dictator.
I've never. That's the most accurate. That's the most accurate description you've had yet.
Yeah, I think so too. I was pretty proud of that. But you're the Davaner, and with me is always.
Wait, what are you supposed to? What are you supposed to be playing on with your name?
Scanner.
I don't see
Scanner's
Scanner.
one of the acolytes.
I don't. Oh, they're all listed by their actual names here. Yeah, except for a couple of them, like Frenzy and Chrome aren't. But
Scanner, I don't know if she's in this episode, but she's an acolyte. I went with it. I think she's the one with the hand, unless that's supposed to be Carmella. But,
I don't. She's not listed as one of the cat.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, that is Carmella.
That is gonna be like that. Oh my god. Well, maybe Scanner's not in this.
It's all right. We'll let her slide for today.
It's not the only thing I ruined this episode, and I'll get into that in a second.
Oh no.
But with me, as always, is my co-host.
We have to destroy him while we still can.
The time is now.
Please do.
Carmella
please.
Unaciandre.
That's right. And I was a moment late because I was actually struggling to make my name work, as well as the fact I haven't been feeling well. So, yeah, between those two things, I was struggling. But I got it. It came up with a good one, I think.
Yeah, that's.
And it's a name I'm probably going to impossibly be able to pronounce myself, so it's perfect. Because I won't have to.
I'm going back to my one from last episode because it was better.
Oh, Devaner's fine.
No.
I have a friend with the last name Devani, and I feel like I should call him Devaner now.
Davian Skeltez is back.
Boo. Boo, Skeltez,
we are
boo.
here to review Season 4, Episode 4 of the X-Men anime series, Sanctuary, Part 2, written by Jeff Saylor. That very same. Written by Jeff Saylor, directed by Larry Houston. Jeff Saylor, this is his only episode he writes in this series.
His only episode was Part 2?
Bonkers. Yeah.
Ooh.
He writes 4 episodes of Bonkers and 8
episodes totally nuts. Bonkers. Oh, yeah, totally. Bonkers.
What was the other one?
I don't remember that much of Bonkers. Marsupilami? That's one that most nobody remembers.
No, 8 episodes of Goof Troop. That's
I love Goof Troop. Did he work on the movie? The movie's fantastic. Gorsh.
Yeah, I didn't see the movie. I don't.
What? You never seen a Goofy movie? Oh, dude, you got to get on that.
I don't know.
Did the Goofy movie spin out of the show, or did the show spin out of the movie? I can't remember.
Oh, I think the movie was after the show.
Okay, because the movie. Yeah, I think Max is going to college or something, right? If I recall correctly, but it was a delightful movie. A Goofy movie is, if you have children and you want to show them something they probably haven't seen before that you'll probably enjoy as well, watch a Goofy movie.
Have children.
Well, they may not appreciate it as much as, but anyway, it's good, super good.
Well, before we get into it, I think we have to rewind like it's apostrophe 92. Yeah. So, I messed up the graphics for last episode in this one.
I noticed that, and I didn't say anything because I knew you would. I knew you would probably not take it well, so I was like, I'll just let it slide. I looked at it and I said, I'm pretty sure they're not in those costumes till the next one. That's my fault for giving you all the graphics at once.
That one I got right.
The costumes when it shows
square ones I got right. The rectangle ones I got wrong.
Okay, there was one I recognized as not being correct, and that's
random. I put random in the last one. He was in that episode.
He was in the episode. It was fine. I mean, no one would have noticed if you didn't bring it up. But
I felt bad, and I had to do a segment on it.
It's my fault for giving you 2 graphics instead of the usual one that I do when I send them to you in advance. So you can't be trusted with additional graphics. I see that now.
It's true, unless they're numbered like the Simpsons ones.
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna take the numbers off and let you freak flag fly, baby. And I'm gonna make them really vague ones, so you can't even figure out if it's from that episode or not.
Wow. That'll be fun, I guess.
I can't wait.
Well, that's all I'm rewinding about. I messed it up. The square ones will be correct on the audio-only version. But if you're watching the show and you're confused...
I mean, when people come here for the journalistic integrity of this program, and you spit
I let you down.
in their face...
I let the ex-goons down.
Slap them across their face, pee on them, just like it's the amount
Worst of all, I let myself down.
No, worst of all, you let me down. I don't care about you. No, I'm kidding.
That's my worst.
I could care less, buddy. You're doing a great job on this show. Considering we do this for zero money, we have a very dedicated crew that's enjoying doing it. So,
yeah,
I must say.
Oh, I see what's happening. Haha.
Previously on X-Men.
I wonder how good this one's gonna be.
Do we follow?
No, Scott. He chose not to continue his attack. I believe that is his way of saying thank you.
Wait, that's not the last episode. That's like a million episodes ago. That's a Juggernaut episode.
Oh, wow. I am just...
And by a million, I mean it's like 3 episodes ago.
Why is that one still on my thing? Sorry, everybody. Let's start that over. This is a live show, so technically we can't, but let's just pretend. We're all pretending together. It's like a group activity.
Previously on X-Men.
All right, let's do this again.
When we arrived here, we saw only Cortez.
Liars!
I saw them
Liars!
in the chamber.
Assassins!
Gambit keep outnumbered.
Vengeance for our lost Lord Magneto!
That one was pretty good.
Yeah, but think we're outnumbered. Well, that one actually works. This is a part 2, so it actually works very well in this particular instance. So I'm glad for once, maybe in the entirety of this show, that has finally worked out for you. Yes, Sam, you should watch a Goofy movie. It's great. It's on Disney Plus, and I'm not sure. I can't speak about the potentially crappy straight to DVD sequel that came out in the year 2000. I don't know about that one. It could be good. I don't know. But a Goofy movie is a great movie.
Max probably is the father in that one.
Nope, I think Max graduates from college at the end of that one, and him and Goofy have a whole thing. Which is funny because Goofy's... Well, I think we have some important questions about Goofy we have to answer before we get to the silly X-Men podcast. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the credits for a Goofy movie, Max is credited as Max Goof. What's Goofy's first name?
Goofy. He's Goofy Goof.
I don't think so.
I think he's Goofy Dog or something like that, isn't he?
No, his last name's Goofy. That's why, or Goof. That's why he's Max Goof.
I don't know that. I know that the classic green Goofy hat is the souvenir I took away from Disney World when I was a little kid.
Oh, really? That's a nice souvenir.
Yeah, it was cool. I might even still have it. I don't know.
Gosh, I'm pretty sure they still sell those somewhere.
Gosh.
But so if you look at the credits here, let me see if it says his actual name. Maximilian or Max Goof. And then Bill Farmer is credited as Goofy.
In a second, he's going to be knocking us around like play toys.
Oh my God, why is this happening? My soundboard is so broken. Anyway.
But it's attached to your computer, right?
Yep.
Okay.
It's just
well,
software.
Here we are at part 2 of Sanctuary, in which we get some fun new costumes and continue on the storyline of the last episode. So without much further ado, which is something I say very often on my other podcast, let's get into it. Mm-hmm. So we get our little flashback. We see what happened. And then we go through our credits, which I actually skipped for the very first time today because I was on a time crunch. I know I was in a time crunch. It's the first time I've ever skipped the credits. That's pretty good considering this is episode.
Now who's let everybody down?
Oh, come on now. They're the old credits. I got blinded by how wonderful the new credits were when they had new credits for a couple episodes ago. So we see our intrepid trio of Xavier, Gambit, and Beast being hunted by the I still love the Kangaroo as one of them. Like I didn't know Kangaroo was a mutant. Like he was an obscure Spider-Man villain, but I don't remember him being a mutant.
Spider-Man fights everybody.
I know, and some of his villains are mutants, I suppose. I know his deranged clone Ben Reilly right now is like keyed into a bunch of X-Men stuff for this Dark Web storyline they're doing. But he's Chasm now, who is the Beyond Corporation was registered the name Spider-Man, and he was their Spider-Man. Well, Peter was like in a coma or something, and then it turned out the corporation would keep erasing his memory every time or take away the parts of his memories that would get them in trouble with stuff that about the corporation. So eventually they erased so much he began to have a disconnect in his own mind about who he was and forgot all the parts of his life. They did offer the Beyond Corporation in a way to try to taint him against Spider-Man, offered him a method to get his memories back from Peter, but Peter wouldn't agree to it because he didn't trust them. And it was obvious he shouldn't anyway. But because of that, it kind of splintered their relationship. And he got caught in some kind of a thing that seemingly would have killed him, but he survived.
A chasm, you might say.
Yes. So now he's got this kind of black and green. He kind of looks like a symbiote, even though he isn't one. He's sort of black with green kind of spidery markings. And there's always this kind of like energy coming off him. He looks kind of cool, but I haven't seen him in the comic. I just got my comics last week, so I'm now catching up on the reading, but it does look like he's tied in with Madeline Pryor and a bunch of X-Men stuff.
I always have a ton of Spider-Man to catch on, though.
Oh, I'm actually pretty caught up on that one finally. It's some of the others that I'm not caught up on, but I've actually pared my comic reading down quite a bit. So I'm still trying to read all the graphic novels and stuff, just single comics. There's only like a kind of a small handful of stuff out that really interests me nowadays. And with time the way it is, it's trying to get it all in is tough. So I used to try to buy all the Star Wars comics that Marvel's putting out. I've given up on that. They just put out way too much.
Yeah.
All right. So our trip
for a while when they first.
Well, when Jason Aaron and stuff were writing them, and even when Chuck Sproul was, that was cool. But or Charles Sproul, is that his name? Yeah. So
Charles Sproul, yeah.
So anyway, our mutants are trying to escape. They're being chased by all the mutants on Asteroid M, who believe they.
I believe the proper expression is, "Feet don't fail me now."
I think that's what you meant to say.
Yes, exactly. Yes, you meant to use that off-brand quote for Beast, which is a very strange one for him because it doesn't have any $4 words in it or $4 words in it. So
that was the joke there, though. It was very funny.
I know.
Yeah, he was being folksy.
Yes, Beast and his folksiness. So they basically seeing the tide turning, the astronauts are hanging out in the bay, and the X-Men can they seem to be Russian, which is funny. But they convince them to save themselves and help them by escaping on a shuttle. Gambit agrees to stay behind. It says he's going to stay behind basically and cover their tracks. Beast says that he shouldn't do that, and he says that he'll catch up with them basically. But he's slowing down. But he's very quickly subdued by I always forget her name, the girl with the A. Magneto, not Carmela, Amelia. Amelia used their powers to quickly sort of come up behind, apparate behind him, and hold on to him while the rest of the acolytes kind of contain him. They run on and try to stop the X-Men from escaping. I like that line. That was a little earlier on when Beast says, what happens if you don't get away? And he says, then I'll be the first X-Men in orbit, which means he'll be floating around in space, dead. But that's a nice way of putting it. And the old Gambit colloquialism.
Like they just shuttled Magneto. Like they just sent him crashing down towards the Earth. So he figures the same thing probably would happen to him.
Yeah, but Cortez is like a terrible villain. Like, I mean, obviously
ridiculously unhinged. Like every sentence he says just sounds completely unhinged.
And there's also kind of a little bit of a gap in the logic here, and I'll get to that when it comes up. But as to how he went so nuts so fast, because even the other acolytes are surprised. They're like, you seem so great on Genosha. What happened? And maybe it's just that he finally had a taste of power, and that's what drove him to the edge. But it's almost funny because they do this in fiction all the time. Like the second somebody gets the smallest taste of power, they just go nuts and like become a villain, or like the villain for the next season. You know, maybe they're kind of a half friend of the character, but then by the end of the first season, they, you know, become some kind of a rival because they get some kind of a taste of power. So it's always funny when they do that. So
I would guess it could be explained is perhaps he had never, because his power, there's a bit of a sharing of energies and stuff.
That's never really explained. It just says that he can enhance other people's energy.
Yeah,
So
but he clearly could sap it as well because he sapped it back.
Yeah, I guess give it and take it back. Doesn't seem to have much of an effect on him when he does that, though.
Perhaps he had never done that to like an Omega level mutant before, and just that sheer amount of power drove him crazy or something. Because he seems like he's on like what's the word, adrenaline. Like if they like zoomed in on him, he'd just be shaking because his like voice is even shaking. He's just like just completely off of it here, off his rocker. I can be folksy like Beast.
Folksy Beast him. So
now we play a new game, and it's Gambit's deal.
All right, so then Goofy packs up the truck and gets Max ready for college, and then he has some trouble with a Bigfoot in the woods, and that's a whole other ordeal. Yeah. Oh, right. Sorry. I got sidetracked.
Sorry, Chair, but you joined the wrong team.
I think you meant sorry, mon cher.
Mon cher.
The wrong team.
To the wrong team, leadership. So
this is the X-rated show, not the Goof Troop.
Yeah, well, maybe that's our next show. We'll do the Goofy show, followed by the Goofy movie.
Goofy show.
So the X-Men do manage to narrowly escape. They see Gambit's not coming, so they seal up the door and take off. While they're taking off back to Earth, Magneto is like Charles sees Magneto's shuttle hovering away and kind of sees Magneto fading from existence in his mind. Charles. It's very, very gritty voice work.
All this Magneto stuff.
There's a lot of great. Well, actually, Magneto's not in this episode hardly at all. It was mostly in the last episode that we got most, but he does have some fun Magneto stuff. But I do have some questions about how it makes sense that he can do the fun Magneto stuff he does, and we can talk about that a little later. But anyway, the rocket's kind of crash landing to Earth. Rogue tries to stop it, burns her hands because it's all hot from coming through the atmosphere. Manages to slow down enough for them to land. She ends up tearing through the ship trying to find Gambit, who is not on the ship, and it's explained to her by Beast that he stayed behind to try to protect them. Well, first she thinks he stayed behind. First she thinks that he stayed behind because he wanted to stay behind, but then Beast explains he stayed behind to save them, and they got to go back and get him. But Xavier quickly tells them they need to take a bit of time before they can. Well, Beast says they're going to outfit the ship to go into space, which is hilarious. He's like, we just need a few hours to outfit the Blackbird to go into space. And you're like, what? I guess they do kind of show that they're using shear technology. Yeah. But that's even hilarious.
Last thing, he even says that's what he's doing. Like,
that's right. But it's even funny when you see him using it. And I'll explain that when we get to that point too. But basically, Xavier says he needs to settle to do a couple hours he needs while Beast is doing that, basically to talk to the world leaders and assemble a force to go back and rescue Gambit. Gambit is dropped at the feet of Fabian Cortez, who's now the leader of Asteroid M, who accuses Gambit of assassinating Magneto. Gambit, of course, tries to tell his side of the story. He's wearing a collar that stops his powers from working, which always pops up conveniently whenever they need to have the powerless X-Man. They never reference they have them. Like, why would Magneto allow them to keep mutant like power dampening?
Well, they had
collars.
Just come from Genosha, where there's a ton of those things.
That's possible. That's fair. I can accept that. But it just seems odd that Magneto would allow that on his ship where you celebrate mutant diversity and powers and don't hinder them in any way.
Could have been Sneaky Fabian that brought that up.
Well, Sneaky Fabian. Yeah. So Cortez basically doesn't let Gambit explain it, accuse them of sabotaging Magneto, saying that he will get a confession out of him. Also, basically saying that they will break him and force him to join them. Gambit, of course, says he will not. Cortez says they will see. Always very evil, maniacal. He's very maniacal villain. And he's even got this voice that's kind of crazy. I don't know if I should kill everyone, but I want to. It's like that, which is interesting. Well, then we cut to a very somber picture of the X-Men gathering on the mansion lawn for a funeral of sorts for the fallen Eric, now known as Eric Magnus Lencher. I believe when he appeared in the show the first time, he was just Eric Magnus.
He was just Magnus, they called him.
Yeah. Yes, I believe they did call him Eric, but they did call him. But I believe the first time around, pardon?
Did they call him Eric early on? I don't think they did.
Well, maybe they didn't.
Professor always called him Magnus. Still does.
Did the comics?
The name I should have had from the beginning, Davan Tinhorn.
Did the comics change? Like when the comics had changed that, because when he first started, he was Eric Magnus, I believe. He was never. I know they retconned it later that he was always Eric Magnus Lencher, but
I don't think that was a retcon.
No, I don't think he was Lencher from the get go. I'm pretty sure he wasn't, because I remember always thinking that maybe it's just because that seems like something Stan Lee would have done, and then somebody later saying it's ridiculous his last name is Magnus would have went back and changed. Because he was Max Eisenhardt at one time, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, so the names have changed over the years. But Eric Lencher was a cover.
I think that was just an alias he was going with for a while.
Yeah, if you read through his biography, it does say he adopted the name Magnus because he was adopted by someone Magda. And anyway, it's a long story. But anywho, apparently Eric Lencher was his name all along, and this is what we're accepting in the show. So Xavier kind of says that, though he didn't agree with Magneto's methods, the content of like his character was something that they, his willingness to stand and fight was something to be commended, and blah, blah, blah. So Xavier has a nice little goodbye to his friend.
He would not have wanted a memorial, so I will keep this brief. Eric Magnus Lencher was known to you only as Magneto, our most intractable opponent. He was also my friend.
Yeah, some nice voice work there. I do like...
In the end, he wanted only to spare future generations the pain he was forced to endure. Though I abhorred his methods, I cannot fault the strength of his character.
Yeah, that's the line. So,
this is his friend.
Well, it's true. I mean, Magneto, love him or hate him, he does have a noble purpose. What the lengths he's willing to go to achieve that purpose is something that is usually what causes the odds between them. And in fact, is their connection and they're both their desire for mutant unity or mutant ascension is something that does make them work together at oftentimes. And I think in the comics currently he's not really a bad guy, is he?
Oh, in the comics
it's hard to keep track. Oh, okay. Well, he'll be back soon enough. So we do get to see the X-Men.
Yeah, he was on the council.
The X-Men do get a whole bunch
of...
things.
They sort of had melded their things. That's what the whole Krakoan era was, where they sort of combined their philosophies. A little more hard-edged than Xavier normally does, and a little less all-in than Magneto would go.
No, that's very adult of them. It took them 60 years of battling each other to come to some kind of a compromise. We do get the X-Men probably get the most costume changes, I think, in this episode than they ever have, which is interesting.
Doesn't Rogue look quite dapper at the funeral? She
looks like she's in the Victorian era. She looks like she might be killed by Jack the Ripper any minute.
Yeah, I didn't get an image of that, I don't think.
It's a very southern, man, look at Beast's face in that picture. It's a very southern sort of Belle kind of outfit. Well, this is kind of scary. But anyway, we see Gambit getting tortured by Cortez. I'm not sure why he's torturing him in private, because no one's really there to see Gambit elicit a confession, even if he does force one out of him, because, that's just the case. Basically, Gambit says, we both know what you did, and Cortez just punishes him for saying that. Then, hey, psst.
Uh-oh, kitty trouble.
Yeah, he likes to come. When he wants my attention, he'll come and start scratching at the carpet. It's a little dick.
Mine does that at the bed.
No, he won't do it. Well, actually,
the whole bed too.
what he does at night in the morning to wait if he wants me to get up and I'm not up yet, he'll just start taking, like, I have a little side table with some stuff on it, and he'll start fucking with that. He'll like pick up pieces and drop it on the floor and play with it. I had a boutonniere that was
Same
left
one.
over.
Go ahead.
What was Stan Lee like? Nice guy. When I met him anyway.
He was nice to me, and I almost killed him. So
That's right.
it didn't have to be nice.
If you want to hear that story, you can listen to the Graphic Histories podcast. So, yeah. So Cortez is torturing Gambit. Then Amelia comes in and stops him, saying he's being too hard on him. Blah blah blah. Cortez is kind of upset because he feels as though he's not being respected for the leader that he now apparently is. I guess you just ascend to leaderdom without an election or anything on Asteroid M.
You kill the leader ahead of you, and you get their position, like on a Klingon.
Well, yeah, or more popularly, like the necromancers from the Chronicles of Riddick film.
More popular.
I'm kidding. Listen, that movie is serviceable. The original Pitch Black is a fantastic movie.
Buddy.
Your batleth is small and not very.
It's not the size that matters; it's what you do with it.
It 100% is if it's a weapon. If I had a real size batleth and you came at me with that one, I think I'd win. And I don't even know
that to Raphael.
He doesn't use a batleth; he uses a sai.
Yeah, but it's small compared to other weapons.
He has two of them.
Yeah.
And if you combine them, they're both the size of a normal weapon. So anyway, we get Cortez, who's trying to sort of assert his dominance over the world, basically by sending a message across the earth saying that
by being unhinged.
Essentially, yeah.
Slimy little crawfish.
Being a slimy little crawfish.
Do you have what he tells the world here?
All mutants held for any reason must be freed, and restitution paid for human crimes against them.
Within what, 48 hours? 48 hours, or he's going to blow up the world, apparently? Is what he... So he's like, all mutants must be released, or I'll blow up...
They're a horrible murderer.
Or I'll blow up the entire world, kill all of the humans and all of the mutants that are also on Earth. So either release,
you can't release Sabretooth.
I mean, he died in space. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You mean release him? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
but
give him in custody. You have to keep him in custody.
yeah, it's pretty bad. So anyway. So now there's a time crunch with them having, but we do see some more fun cameos of various X-Men people watching this video as well. So they're sort of capitalizing.
Save those for later.
Yeah, I can see those for later.
Battle those for X points.
Yeah, I'm too tired to battle. So obviously the mutants aren't.
By the way, everybody.
I said that at the beginning. I guess I'm gonna have a cold or flu or some combination of the two. So Kelly's unhappy. Obviously, President Kelly's unhappy about this, and he's in a meeting with Xavier and the rest of the World Council, which are all on TVs in his office, like he's working at a some kind of a TV station, which I always find kind of funny. Do you think the White House has about like 20 TVs built into the wall that is direct feeds to each other world leader than in friendly countries?
Probably.
I mean, there's 160 countries in the world, so I'm guessing it's a lot of TVs.
I mean, they probably don't have one to Canada, but
I would assume they'd have. I mean, the countries that are closest allies, they must. They got Genosha on there, for God's sakes.
they have Genosha.
Yeah, Ian, the Genoshan guy, of course, is mistrusting a mutant, saying that they can't trust Xavier, and they sent him up there before, and he didn't do jack squat. But Xavier says the difference this time will be they're not going on a peace mission; they're going for war. So, that's sort of what. So he has a time limit to get his to go get Gambit out and stop Mr. Cortez.
Sweet new outfits.
So Amelia goes to visit Gambit, basically using her powers to sneak around and see how he's doing. Gambit, of course, tells her that Fabian is not to be trusted, and he's the one who did all this. She doesn't really trust Fabian anyway, because what he's doing right now is drawing, like, she always wanted to just live her life alone, of being free of being a mutant, like not be persecuted or even whatever, just be herself, and being a mutant just being a side part of herself. It's not like she's denying it. It's just she doesn't want to go battle other mutants or do any of this other stuff. She just wants to live a normal life. But, she blames Xavier for putting her in the spotlight with the X-Men. And now, Cortez is doing the same thing, if not worse, by agitating the entire world with his broadcast. So this is sort of leading her on the path to sort of see what's really going on. She goes, visits Gambit, gets more idea what's going on, and then breaks into security and looks for the security tapes of what happened. Of course, tape 54 is missing, which is the one that would tell her what happened. We cut to the X-Men. It's all VHSs too, and there's like 1,000 of them on a wall. So it's like, how many, a VHS lasts 6 hours. So how many, or I guess, is it 8?
A lot of them were only like 3.
Yeah, well, that's only if you're using EP or LP, or was it? I can't remember, whatever mode you had your VCR set to. So higher quality was we used more tape. So, oh God, I remember when I was a kid, I used to tape every episode of Raw and SmackDown.
I used to tape a lot of wrestling as well.
And I had what am I?
Am
I gonna watch Raw from like January 3rd, 2001? Like, it's ridiculous.
Did you ever like record stuff like movies and get up and stop recording during the commercial?
Pause. Well, you can do it with the remote control. You pause.
Well, if maybe you could, fancy smancy.
That's right. I did live as fancy smancy VCR. So the X-Men arrive.
Hoity-toity, I believe, was the phrase,
so my monocle. You would use. I would watch my films with my monocle while eating the finest of craft dinner. The real kind.
Caviar.
That's right. I'd eat the actual brand name craft dinner. That's how well refined. Not that rubbery PC brand bullshit. Nothing too good for Mrs. Myatt's little boy. So
Turtles craft dinner.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Shaped like the Ninja Turtles.
You know what I want? Okay, I will go on a quick side mission here. So on the weekend, I had some friends over and we're talking about the Turtles. Oh, we played this game called is it Dream Date? Mystery Dream Date? It's a new game that's sort of Dream Crush, and it's like an 80s sort of where like they give you the characters, the 3 different potential suitors, and then details about each of them, and you have to guess, what person of your group will pick which of the third with each level of new information that comes out. So if you correctly guess, I won both games actually, so it's just fun. But if you can correct
your dream dates, oh nice.
One of them actually is Elijah Wood. He, I guess he likes the game, and they put his face in as one of the characters. So it's funny because someone's like, "Is this Elijah Wood?" And I remember looking at him like, "It definitely is." But anyway, I didn't see any other celebrities making cameos, so it's pretty funny they stuck him in. I think his name was Francis or something in it. But anyway, we were talking about Turtles for some reason. I can't remember why. But then I was talking about how the live action Ninja Turtle show that Fox put out in the late 90s, mid to late 90s. So around the same time this cartoon show was on, we had the
there was a live action Ninja Turtle show.
You don't remember this?
No, I remember the movies.
It was called The Next Mutation. It was live action Turtles in Suits, but it was a double bill every hour. It was this show and Power Rangers in Space. Were on Fox at the same time. And there's an episode on the show of Power Rangers in Space where they teamed up, where the Turtles and the Power Rangers teamed up. Yeah, and I remember I came across the DVD set somewhere of that show because it only lasted one season. So in the first episode, they deal with Shredder, like he gets arrested or he's gone. And then there's a new villain for the rest of the show, who's called Dragon Lord. But the most notable thing about the show was that it introduced the 5th Ninja Turtle, a female named Venus de Milo, that had a light blue band and was slightly smaller than the others. You don't remember this at all?
No, I don't remember either of those shows. Oh my God, mute yourself, Andre.
I'm sorry, Jesus. I'm dying here. I'll just be happy I'm still on the show, for God's sake.
Nuts.
Listen, they either hear that or they don't hear me at all. What would you prefer?
I told you, mute yourself. Not at all.
I'm not muting myself. The people need to see. You're getting way ahead of us.
Oh, am I?
It's a mountain ahead of us.
Oh well, that part's cool when we get.
So
there.
anyway, the guy guarding the chamber with security tapes has some kind of ability to change the material of a statue of Magneto that he keeps changing different materials. And while he's doing that, he's not noticing the X-Men approach and their cool, decked out Blackbird jet with all this new sheer technology. We see these outfits, which are fun. I mean, Beast is just wearing sort of a gold spacesuit. Rogue has something that kind of reminds me of her Age of Apocalypse outfit.
It's like big shoulder pads. It's like her with, like,
and Wolverine looks like he's wearing the X-Force, like the Black Ops X-Men X-Force comic outfit, which is
his Shield one. Like when there's like a Wolverine Agent of Shield.
What are you doing here?
Oh my god.
So we get these cool little costumes for their Strike Force team. It's kind of neat that they have like different costumes for like sneaking around and fighting people instead of just like being superheroes. It kind of like lends itself to that. Yeah, but Wolverine's is just his normal outfit, but kind of harder looking with the darker colors. It kind of reminds me a bit of like how when Whedon took over X-Men after Grant Morrison's run, they had a story when they tried to explain why they have costumes again. They said that they wanted to kind of fit in more with the superhero mentality because people don't trust people in black leather. Yeah, so it's just a way to get them back in costume. So I kind of like the idea that perhaps when it's a more when they're fighting in the public on behalf of mutants, they want to be seen as colorful superheroes. But when they're doing this sort of dark mission in space where they're probably going to have to kill somebody or total them, as we say in the show, they move to their harder outfits. So we do see...
that was funny in the comic, though, because like Cyclops starts doing this speech about that, like visibility and public perception and all that stuff, and he just keeps going on with the speech, and Wolverine cuts him off. He's like, wait a minute, this is about costumes, isn't it?
Yeah,
because they had just been wearing black.
I do remember that. Yeah,
but man, I was so glad to get the costumes back. That's when I jumped back on the X-Men comics. Costumes.
You missed the best X-Men storyline of all time.
Which one?
The Grant Morrison run.
The whole run? It's not one.
The entire run. I mean, maybe not, but it is in the top 5 for me for sure. But I do love Morrison's. That probably colors my opinion. But I do really love that comic and that run too. And maybe it's because it was around when I was a kid and I read whatever comics I can get a hold of. But then I got working in a store where new comics came out. So that's when I started reading new comics again and getting to catch up on Spider-Man, X-Men, and all this stuff. And I was just really all in right from the get-go. So we come back to Beast. He's using all this new Shi'ar technology, which is hilarious because it just says like Shi'ar shield, Shi'ar cloak, Shi'ar stuff in front of each of them. Like you don't really need to write that on the thing.
Idiot proof.
Yeah, essentially so. So they use that to kind of get through the force field, go undetected, landing on the asteroid. Some interesting animation work here with the shadow of when they go into the asteroid. You see the shadow go over the ship, and it's kind of neat. It looks like they may have used some practical effects in that, and it's not just straight animation. But
animation's great in this episode, though.
It's a really good episode. Yeah, all around this is a fantastic two-parter. I love that Wolverine costume. Actually, I think it's super cool. I like it better than his normal costume.
I don't know.
Actually.
It almost looks, other than the cowl, it almost looks like it's. Well, I guess those are the highlights they do on Wolverine. Like the outfit is probably all black or all blue.
I think it's supposed to be black. Is what I would read into it.
Yeah.
And like Rogues has no explanation as to why she needs this suit. It's not like he covers her face anymore or anything, like from being out in space. But or Wolverine I get for stealth maybe, like since they're sneaking around. But I mean, Rogue's wearing yellow and green and red. So, anywho, we see Amelia trying to find that tape. Yeah, just using him as a torpedo. Kind of looks like.
Yeah.
So she can't find the tape. While she's looking for the tape, we see B sneaking around the missile silo, deactivating all the warheads that Cortez has access to. Well, that's happening. Cortez gets a call. He needs to be somewhere from Amelia.
Yes. Daniel says the animation is totally fire. Rogue's outfit in space is what all the kids were talking about.
I agree. I mean, I love it. I think that it's a great costume. I don't see the practicality of it being in space, but I think it's cool getting variations. And I mean, we always talk about how X-Men has such a rich history and decades worth of content. It's nice when they can mine it when they can to throw it in the show and do little nods to it. And they do that a hell of a lot in this series, which is great. So Cortez,
thank you for your patronage, Daniel.
Oh, is Daniel one of her patrons?
Indeed.
Oh, thank you, Daniel. New stuff coming, I believe, which you're probably going to talk about later
Yeah, the
for
new
our
stuff's up.
patrons.
The hoodie's
Oh.
up and t-shirts up. And,
Nice.
Yeah, just straight
So,
logo.
Amelia goes over the intercom. I guess they have an intercom like they're a supermarket for people to radio each other in the Asteroid M. So Amelia used it to page Cortez, who is annoyed because he was looking at different costumes for himself in his magic mirror on the wall. One of which shows him being, just draped over by beautiful women. So maybe this is the reason for his sudden deep dive into megalomania. He's like, this is going to get me all the chicks. That's right. Maybe he's just like a
dictator.
Because maybe he's like a lonely nerd. But I always find it funny when they do these comic shows where there's like a lonely nerd character, and he's always kind of shredded anyway. Like, Cortez is what I would guess by definition of an animated show, a handsome dude, and he's jacked. So, like, anyway, that seems to be his interest. He's seeing it. He has his mirror on the wall that's kind of running through different costume changes for him. And one of them being adored and beautiful.
That's much better. Even the muting.
Yeah, okay. Jesus Christ, you're demanding. You're hard to love sometimes, Davan. You know that.
I'm a tin horn dictator.
Mm-hmm. So she sneaks in using her mist powers, finds the tape, which Cortez just leaves on his desk, not hidden, not even in a drawer, just freely available for anybody to walk in and pick up. She puts it in the TV, sees the true story of what happened. And while she's doing this, the X-Men are flying around, looking, for Cortez, basically. Cortez comes in to where he was paged at, which was the security room. The guy working there says he has no idea what's going on. Cortez is freaking out because he doesn't know why he's called away from his, guessing, eventual masturbation. That seemed to be where that scene was headed. So anyway, while he's there getting upset and thinking he was tricked, the X-Men show up and they get in a big bout of fisticuffs. I love that he has this power to zap the energy from mutants and basically take the energy away to the point their atoms can't even stay together and they just fade from existence. But he still runs for a gun and starts using that when the X-Men show up instead of just using his powers to take their energy.
Which is weird too, because they're not supposed to use guns on this show.
They use them a lot on this episode. I mean, they're lasers. They're not like guns.
I guess they can use lasers.
But anyway, they open fire. The guard and Cortez open fire on them. Wolverine and Rogue fight back, but then the Acolytes show up and get involved, throw them around the room with their crazy powers. But as Cortez is sort of getting ready, the X-Men, we see Magneto's ship land in the desert. It's kind of like a Bethlehem wise man situation here. They got like the camels, the two guys wearing the Magi outfits. So there's like a star that looks like the Star of Bethlehem in the sky. I'm wondering if this is like
that vibe.
Yeah, you got that too. Then it crashes into the earth. Basically, they go to check what's up, and then you see Magneto pull himself. As his body is kind of reconstituting, it's sort of phasing in and out of existence, and we'll explain what happens to him briefly.
Love when Magneto shows how crazy his powers are. He can do the craziest stuff, and when he does,
but that's sort of like when it's convenient. Like he was lifting the ships with people in them, and that was draining him before until Cortez charged him up. But it was like
now he's supercharged by the Earth's magnetic field because they fired him right into it.
Because he went from space through it?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that was one of my gripes was why didn't he just feed off it when he's on Earth before? So, yeah, but like, why was he weak before? Because he was going in and out of Earth with the...
Unless, oh my God, Gambit, stop. Unless Fabian was already secretly draining him to make him reliant on him. I don't know. Maybe a plot hole.
Well, anyway, Cortez uses his technology that he seems to have that allows him to be on every TV in the world to turn them on so they can all watch him basically kill the X-Men and assert his dominance.
My people demand justice, public retribution, broadcast to the world.
He sounds a little worked up.
A little unhinged. So while he's getting ready to do this, basically Amelia appears with the cassette, puts it in, and shows what really happened when Cortez zaps Magneto of his powers, says he's going to use him as a martyr, takes his key, ejects his pod out into space, and then tells the rest of the mutants that the X-Men had done it. So this, of course, turns all the mutants on him,
Face punk.
including my namesake Carmilla Unis Scandre. Is that how you pronounce it? Sion, who is in tears about what he did to Magneto, which is funny because they barely knew him. But I guess maybe what he represented is what she's sad about. So
You will serve our cause much better as a martyr.
God damn it! Let other people
It's a
talk.
trick.
it's a trick. I would try to ape him better if my throat wasn't so sore, but he
Yeah, I don't want to do it either. My throat also hurts. I'm kind of sick too, but I'm always sick, so I don't talk about it. I have a baby. So.
yes, that is how children do spread sickness. They're little plague bearers. So
Their sticky little hands.
the girl with the crazy mutant hands, energy hands, goes to attack him. He throws a grenade at the Cortez and disappears behind a little trapdoor. Magneto or Wolverine has a pithy line about her abilities. Do you have that here? I'm sure you probably do.
I think I do.
Of course you do.
That would have to be. You're skipping ahead here. All right, that's good though. We're making time. That must be this one.
She'd be a handful on a date.
He seems interested.
He does though, doesn't he? That's
He
what I
does.
got from that.
I think Magneto or Wolverine might be getting lonely.
Yeah.
So
Hasn't fought with an ex-girlfriend on the show in a few episodes.
that's right. So using his secret door, Cortez makes it down to the secondary control room for the missiles, where we see Byron hanging out. He wants him to check the missiles, and he sees that 16% of them are offline. There's 210 that are still active, but some of them are being deactivated. So Cortez, realizing that he's being sabotaged, forces Byron at gunpoint to shoot them all at once at the Earth, which is a pretty drastic, like literally destroying the Earth is his plan.
Most of the people on it is what they said earlier,
and killing the majority of the mutants as well.
Yeah. But they'll be
So
free.
Gambit busts in to try to stop him, but he still has that collar on. Cortez using it to keep him in line, but then Amelia used her powers to take it from Cortez and free Gambit. Cortez launches the missiles, and Beast gets out of there. The missiles all start sending towards Earth. The Blackbird tries to shoot down as many as they can using a variety of their own weapons and Xavier's telepathic abilities. However, there's just too many. But then, like a Valkyrie riding in to battle,
Oh yeah.
Magneto returns, rejuvenated by the Earth's magnetic field.
The Earth's magnetic field has healed me, as a mother nourishes her son.
Oh yeah.
Very poetic.
It's pretty
little dramatic, but it works. So
like this is Magneto. Like he comes in, like once Magneto gets mad, like he's as crazy and dangerous as any villain. More so, really. So like I like that he wraps Cortez up and then it just cuts away. So you could just be like, he might have gone full Magneto on old Cortez there.
He doesn't, because we see something else that happens. But
yeah, I know.
Anyway, so Magneto appears, uses crazy powers, and then he's all jacked up from the magnetic core of the Earth, which didn't seem to affect him before, but did this time, to wipe out all the missiles and then start attacking the asteroid. So all the mutants started escaping. They subdued Cortez in the little battle before, so they're taking him off to I guess stand trial somewhere. But before they can, Magneto busts in, and Cortez asks for mercy, which is funny. It's like I'm gonna make you a martyr. Sends him off into space, zaps his powers, saying his molecules are just gonna dissipate and he'll be nothing. And then he's like, mercy, when Magneto shows up and wraps him up in metal.
He's unhinged.
He just attached him to the wall and then covers his mouth with metal. Basically, then Rogue busts through another wall, finds Gambit, and they're happy to be reunited. They have a little fun.
Yeah. It almost sounds like you miss me.
Yeah. Yeah. So they have a nice tender moment where Wolverine mocks them for being too sweet when they have their little reunion.
Oh yeah, you gotta make me
Then Professor X reaches out to Magneto to try to tell him to come back with them, but Magneto says that the humanity's never going to trust mutants now because of what happened, so he has to see an end to this plan by destroying the asteroid. Assumingly,
Do not concern yourself. I shall survive it.
yes, stating also that he will survive it. So he blows up the asteroid, sends it spiraling into the Earth's ocean, and disappears until he pops up on the show again.
Becomes the mutant island of Utopia.
What are you doing
comic
here?
books. Oh my God, Gambit! We know what we're doing here. The soundboard makes me.
So they land on Earth, seemingly back in Africa somewhere, for a reason we'll bring up later, I'm sure. And we see, Xavier saying goodbye to Amelia, but she's saying she's tired of trying to use other people's plans to find her way to live in this world. And she's going to come up with her own plan. She gives Xavier a nice little peck and then goes off on her own. We see Cortez awaken, seemingly rescued from the debris of the Asteroid M that as it hit the Earth.
What are you doing here?
Oh my God, Gambit!
It's not Gambit's fault.
Where am I?
With your true savior.
That's it. So we see Apocalypse with a surprising character that we have not seen we've seen in flashbacks, but not actually seen in person yet.
What do you want with me?
You were saved from the asteroid because your talents will prove useful to me very soon.
But who are you?
Apocalypse loves his maniacal laughter, and as unstated there, we do see him with Deathbird, who is the Shi'ar enemy of Lilandra, and it was like not her sister. What's her connection?
Yeah.
She a sister too?
Sister.
All right, so she has a crazy brother and a crazy sister?
Yeah.
Okay, and the crazy brother and sister were aligned before the crazy brother got trapped in the Emron crystal, or Emkron crystal.
Well, see, Deathbird doesn't really like any of them. And she's like, so there's sort of like two kinds of Shi'ar people. Well, I forget what they're called. I guess they're the original Shi'ar, and then Shi'ar's an empire that becomes as many species later. But so she has wings, and like they're all bird people, but most of them don't have wings. But some of them get these like sort of proto wings. And I don't know. I think she was maybe looked down on a little bit because of that.
Would you say that she will take those broken wings and learn to fly again? Learn to live so free. And when you hear the voices sing, all right, the book of love will open up. Let us sing.
Each of us will have to look into his own heart and decide.
For a guy who loves X-Men, 90s X-Men, you certainly don't like your 80s power ballads. That's all I'm saying.
I more in my old age than I did in the day. Ratings from 1 to X. This was a good one. I might give this one a 10 as well.
Yeah, I mean, as far as a
great two-parter.
Yeah, as far as a continuation of what they did last time and really sticking the landing on all of that, I think they did a good job. I mean, we do get that nice moment of Magneto sort of being all jacked up and coming out for this, showing off his abilities. So yeah, I think I could give it a 10.
Boom! First 10 two-parter. That's very prestigious.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, right.
Pretty good.
So Magneto, I love when he does that. Like he's created wormholes with his. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll save that for the next segment. I might need it if we start stealing from each other here. All right, uncanny X points. Why don't you go first, Andre?
Do I have to?
No.
No, I can't. Professor X's spacesuit, we did mention, is a purple and silver kind of sheer exoskeleton, which allows him to walk in the comics. You don't really see him doing that in this episode. But it was first seen in something we talked about last episode, the Fatal Attraction storyline in the X-Men comics, which is something that I have a lot of reverence for because it was right around that sweet spot of my age when I was reading comics and they were fun. And
I love that storyline.
yeah, so it's kind of neat seeing Xavier wearing, something that at the time, yeah, which is true, but something that at the time was fairly recent. Like that comic would have only come out a year or something, probably before this episode. So it's nice that the people writing or animating the show anyway, making the decisions about that stuff, or including stuff as recent as that, which is super neat.
I'm wondering if the new show's going to do that as well. Like get into.
I mean, they have so much. They have so much more from 97 to now. You know, like 30 years
They're
basically.
not going to do that not so great Morrison stuff. And there was and they're not going to do that. Like, there's a lot of bad X-Men.
Well, frig you. They definitely could do some of that stuff. They could easily. Cassandra Nova would be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it's likely we see her.
Phantom X would be awesome.
And confusing, but sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, a lot of people in this show's stories aren't the same, are 100% the same as they were in the comics. So,
Sure.
You know, you can clean it up or make it more whatever. I mean, Zorn would be fun, but
stuff they'd probably do Phantom X.
Zorn would be fun, but I mean, Magneto seems to be an ally at the start of the show, so if they're going to go that route, I don't think they will. But
Daniel has an X point. I may have missed the original comment, but Magneto's shimmery, glittery self climbing out of a hole is my X point.
It's a pretty good X point.
That's good stuff. I'll make that one mine too. So I'll branch off on that. So Magneto, when he flexes his power, he's created a wormhole once because he wanted to get to Scarlet Witch. But I think maybe my favorite one is recently, where Uranos, the Eternal, but like the super powerful one of the first Eternals, comes back to kill all the mutants on Mars. And Magneto's there because him and Storm sort of run that place. And Uranos rips out Magneto's heart, and they just assume Magneto's dead. And he shows up like a few minutes later with like him pumping his own blood through his body and like this sort of magnetic heart he's created with like pure energy in himself, and he's just like super mad. It's super cool. It's very much like this, where he just like pulls himself back from the dead with his own power and comes back for vengeance, and it's a classic Magneto moment. That's probably why this episode got a 10 for me. I love that stuff. That's the Magneto I want to see in the movies. Like
earth-shatteringly powerful Magneto.
Yeah, like really, they've never really shown him when he's really angry and a little unhinged.
Yeah, I mean they've I guess more so with
trying to toe the line, like.
Well, I mean more so with Michael Fassbender's version probably.
Yeah,
there were things in there that were pretty intense as far as the limits of his abilities go, but
I didn't see the last one or two.
All right, my next X point is cameos. So when we when Cortez was reaching out to the Earth, and we see all the people on Earth watching, there was Gideon, who is a character we haven't seen yet in the show yet, with his little minion there. There was the X Factor watching, which is fun to see them again. As well as who's the woman that was in like an Egyptian looking chamber?
Oh, so I have a theory.
Oh, okay. What's your theory?
Well, I'll make it my X point.
What? Come on, just okay. Go ahead. Your X point now.
All right. I think it's Lady Sphinx.
Okay.
She was new to the time. She had debuted in New Warriors comics like a year or two before that, but I can't think of who else it would be.
That makes sense.
But it's super obscure, like not really not an X-Men villain. I mean, maybe they cross paths, but yeah, very strange.
Actually, no, she is listed here. She is listed here.
Oh, is it not
Rada Dastor, also known as the Mutant Haven.
Oh, Haven. Oh, yes, Haven.
And she's with her brother Monsoon.
Oh, crap. All right.
So there you go. Monsoon and Haven.
Bugging me too, because I could picture the card in my head, and I thought the name on it was Sphinx in my head, but it is.
And we see Gideon's little minion is named Saul. He's there as well.
Saul.
Gideon,
yeah.
Gabra Hyson, also known as the Mutant Saul. Or Garbha Hysene, also known as Saul. So yeah, we see them plus all the and the X Factor. Seeing them again was fun. So yeah, it was a good little episode. A lot of cool little cameos.
that's back to you though. Oh, you know what? I
Oh,
won't make mine.
no,
Mine
that's
was
fine. That's
wrong.
fine. No, go back
I'm
to me
not gonna.
because no,
I'm
it's
not
fine.
gonna
It's
use
totally
Lady
fine.
Sphinx.
Totally fine. Go
Alright.
for it. All right. So I'll just there's one camera I wanted to save again for a different point. Did you notice the return of Black Panther in this episode?
I did.
Yeah. So
And
when they go,
Missionary.
yes, in
Hanging out with
Missionary.
Missionary, actually. They were
Yes,
standing on the same rock.
that is true. When they go back to Earth, it's funny because they obviously just use the same animation of the back of Black Panther watching from behind a rock. Because when they go back to Africa and they're all getting back off the ships back on Earth, it's like he's in the exact same pose on what it seems to be the same rock, but now with Missionary there, and they're also like
You
but
see like the mirror image of it.
but there's people everywhere, so he can't really hide because he's not like way in the distance. They're like literally meters away from him. He's like behind a rock, hiding, watching what's going on. Which is, I mean, obviously
Pretty
them
funny.
just throwing in Black Panther for fun, but it didn't make the most sense. But I was willing to let it slide because Black Panther's cool.
Yeah. All right, back to me. Well, Frenzy. So one of the acolytes is Frenzy, and she's actually a really cool character. Of all the acolytes, she's probably the coolest, and she gets a lot of airtime in comics these days, in X-Men comics, because she's on one of the teams. Might be X Factor. Or was it the Marauders? Either way, she's cool. She's just got she's like super strong. But there was this good storyline with her and Cyclops where they like fell in love in like this sort of alternate sort of timeline thing that went on.
Mhm.
And then she remembers it all and feels it all, and he doesn't. So she still has like this thing for him, and he doesn't share any of it. So that's kind of a weird thing. But I like them together, actually. I like those two as a couple better than like Cyclops with anybody else.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Or Jean. Yeah.
So
Frenzy, check her out. She's a cool character.
what was my last point there?
Yeah, 5 already. I feel like this is 4.
No, this is 4. Shoot, I just had it here. 1 sec. Terry Hawks, who does the voice of Amelia in this episode, is in the previous episode, is another Canadian royalty of sorts. A lot of voice work. Care Bears specifically, the redo of it in the late 2000s, as well as Bee and Puppy Cat, which is kind of a famous cartoon that she's on right now, as well as Cube Zero, which was the prequel to the movie Cube, which was a great Canadian movie by Vincenzo Natali. She's on Earth Final Conflict in an episode, which is another. And she did a lot of voice work on Sailor Moon. 69 episodes of that. She was Sailor Moon.
Wow. Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
wow.
And a bunch of other things from the time period, but a lot of Beverly Hills 90210. She did a running bit on that. She was on Avonlea in an episode, Killing Machine, Lonesome Dove, all these Canadian things. Forever Night, of course.
Lonesome Dove.
Yep.
I remember Lonesome Dove.
She did the voice. She did a voice on an episode of Tales from the Crypt Keeper, the kid-friendly animated Tales from the Crypt show.
I love that show. It was a great show.
The Mr. T show, TNT, General Hospital. Oh, wow. She's in Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2, which I've been meaning to watch because it's a sequel to Prom. Well, it's a horror movie. Prom Night 1 had Jamie Lee Curtis in it, but Prom Night 2 was kind of notable because it had nothing to do with 1. Nothing at all. The first one, I think, was the slasher. The second one was like a possessed old prom queen. No connections to either movie whatsoever. Yeah, well, no, Halloween 1 and 2 were directly connected. Halloween 3 was different than the others. Yeah. But 3 is a fantastic movie. I think 3 would be a cult classic if people didn't expect Michael Myers in it when they watched it. If they hadn't called it Halloween and just called it Season of the Witch, I think it would have been would be up there.
And
it
doesn't have Michael on the cover. It has like a pumpkin or something.
Oh, Michael's not in it at all.
Yeah.
He only briefly appears on the TV in a bar. They're showing Halloween 1 or 2 on the TV. So that's it.
Meta style. Yeah.
Kind of, but it's a great show, great movie rather. But yeah, no, she had another one of our Canadian royalty, and she's in a ton of stuff. Lebowski's making his usual cameo in the show. Say hello, Lebowski.
Well, my next X point is Beast getting airsick. That seems strange to me because of any of the X-Men who should be able to like handle that sort of thing. The guy who flips upside down and walks upside down and does barrel rolls and stuff all the time. I figured he had a pretty strong stomach, but he almost loses his lunch. on the Blackbird. I thought that was.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he mentions that he shouldn't have eaten dinner or supper or something.
Yeah.
My final point is seeing Xavier work with the president is interesting. This is something that we haven't really seen on the show before, and I guess it makes sense because there was that whole story in season 2 where Kelly finds a compassion for mutant kind after they save him, and some other people
being kidnapped,
which is similar to what they did in the movie, the first movie. Until then well, he got turned into a mutant and melted into goo, and then Mystique took over for him, but. I thought it was interesting seeing like Magneto being on the level of, dealing with the president and helping with threats to humanity, which is something that's fun. So, more of that. I want to see more X-Men space adventures. You know what I'd like to see in the new series? Abigail Brand. That would be a nice addition to the show.
I'd like to see her and Sword. Them set up Sword. For sure.
Well, Sword and her.
Beast.
Sword and her are in the Secret Invasion TV show that's coming out from Marvel.
Oh yeah, Sword. I hope she's in that.
She is. No, it's been confirmed. She's Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones.
Clarke is Brand.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean, she doesn't have green hair, and I doubt she's half alien unless they do that later. But we'll see.
They have to.
Be cool if she had green hair. I mean, why not? Give her green hair. Come on, Marvel.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like Emilia Clarke. She'll be cool in it.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting choice for the role. It's not who I would have thought picked, but I'll give her a shot.
You see this thing, this creature that. I was going to say, do you see this creature that I rescued from the street as a kitten, fed and loved and clothed? And you see it biting me when I'm trying to pet it here? Do you see this?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It is a cat.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they do. They show you who's boss.
That's right.
My last point is Apocalypse and Deathbird. It's cool to see Apocalypse back because he's great in this show.
Yep, and not too far before he comes back, I don't think.
The last couple of years. And Deathbird, it's cool to see her. And interestingly enough, in the comic, she was a horseman of Apocalypse. So
oh, really?
He's likely setting up. Yep. So he's likely setting up at his next four horsemen.
Well, I assume Cortez will be one as well. So.
Yeah, interesting choice. So Cortez, and that's a good start, I guess. Cortez and Deathbird. Who knows who else will get?
Oh, the world's his oyster.
Yeah. Could be you.
I don't think I can align myself with Apocalypse. I don't feel like our dreams for the world are the same.
They're pretty close, I think.
I'm not an anarchist. I don't want to see the world devolve into madness and insanity. Peace is what I crave.
Good to see you.
Hey, check this out.
Hey, check this out, everybody. This is our comic reminiscences and recommendations segment.
What are you going to recommend since you already recommend the comics? This is based on last week.
Yeah, no, I'm not even gonna recommend comics. I'm gonna recommend novels.
You told me you don't read X-Men novels.
What? Well, I don't often, but I have some.
Mm-hmm. All right.
This one is I do need part 3 of this series. Book 1 is Mutant Empire by Christopher Golden, who also wrote Daredevil's Predator's Smile, which was a very good one as well. I have that over there as well.
They have some of those at the.
Book.
I don't think they have that one. They have some of them at my local Most Wanted pawn shop.
See if they have book 3. I have book 1, Siege. It's about Magneto. So in this one, Magneto takes over a government facility where they're making Sentinels again, and takes them for his own. Oh, and he's got the Acolytes in it too. Yeah.
Oh wow, everybody's in it.
Check it out. And this one is the reason why I even picked this as my recommendation. Book 2 is called Sanctuary.
Sanctuary. It'll be a bishop back.
Sanctuary. So this is book 2. Book 3 I don't have. So if you see it, let me know at your bookstore there.
Oh, hey.
Book 3. But in this one, it's Magneto again with his acolytes, and they stepped it up a notch, and they've now taken over the entire island of Manhattan.
Well, I do have one.
A haven for mutants.
I do have one of those for you that I picked up for you. Remember the Planet X one, the one that's the Star Trek crossover, Star Trek Next Generation crossover novel. Yeah,
that's gonna be fun.
They're like $3, so I'll pick them up if there's anything you need.
Yeah, well, book 3 is what I need.
All right, I do have the Peter David Hulk one that I haven't read it. I should read it.
Oh yeah, he had a fun Hulk run.
Well, no, the Peter, like the book he wrote, What Savage Beast or whatever it's called, it's a red cover.
Oh, okay.
I remember when I was a kid, I always wanted to read it, and then I finally found it somewhere in a used bookstore and I picked it up, but I never ended up reading it yet. So I should do that.
What do you got to recommend for us today, Andre?
Well, in true fashion of people looking for a different life in a different world that's foreign and unfamiliar for them, I picked a book by Sean Tan called The Arrival. It's a very beautiful book. It's kind of a fantastical look at an immigrant story of a man traveling to a new world where nothing is familiar and everything is alien and strange, depicted by,
the art's great.
The art is gorgeous. I believe you did the art as well. And it's all like you can see these different, there's no words in it. It's all depicted through story. But it's a gorgeous, beautiful book.
Marvel Nuff Said issue.
Yeah, which is when we were talking about sort of when I was dropping back into comics. That's when they did those. When I was a teenager and I was reading those. So
Morrison was on X-Men at the time because
that was one of the issues. That was a great issue. The one where they find out that in his minor mind. Yeah. Yes.
Xavier fights Kip Sandin over in the womb. And wins.
Yeah, this actually one time I did I think it was the theater group I'm in, we gave a grant out, and I was selected because I think I was the president of the board at the time to go to the high school graduation and give it to the student we're giving the grant to. So I had to go to the graduation in the middle of the day, and then I was hanging out in the library until we were ready to go sit in the stage. And it was a big school, and it took like hours to go through everybody before the one person I had to stand up, shake her hand, give her the envelope, and sit back down for the next, It was nice. I'm glad, but when I was sitting in the library, I was flipping through some of their stuff and I saw that book and I was really taken with it because the art's beautiful. And it's this lovely story about, an immigrant wanting a better life for your family, going to a strange world where you don't recognize anything. It's all foreign and weird. And obviously it's depicted mostly through, these kind of crazy landscapes and goofy animals and things that we don't recognize ourselves. But it really just stands in for tradition and carries with them sort of a small case that represents the family left behind that he's paving the way for to come with him here and getting a job. And they show, I'm guessing it's mostly the Jewish immigrant story after World War II, because like they depict the world he left behind with these giant monsters sucking people up in these shapes. It's all very a lot of iconography dealing with that sort of stuff. And it's gorgeous. It's heartbreaking. It's beautiful. It's hard to describe, but anyway, if you just look at the back, Art Spiegelman speaks very highly of it, who did Mouse. Jeff Smith, who did Bone, speaks very highly of it. Craig Thompson, who did Blankets and some other amazing books, do as well. So fantastic book. Check it out. It's beautiful, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. I mean, obviously pay attention to the art, because there's a lot of details hidden within it, since it only uses art to tell the story. But it's one of my favorite finds that I never knew about until I knew about it. And he's done other books that are kind of similar that are art in this style. But Sean Tan, check him out. It's fantastic.
All right, very cool. Well, we might as well keep you recommending things and move on to our other Andre recommending things segment. Once I find the cool intro music. Nope, wrong one. That's cool though.
Hey, some crow.
You'll be happy to know Cousin Dave sent me a real mouse.
Oh, have you only been using a pad up until now?
Yeah.
Davan, mice are cheap. I would have sent you one if I knew you didn't have one.
Yeah, we've been over this on the show. You told me they were at the dollar store and called me a fool.
Oh, that must have been a while ago. That doesn't sound like me.
Now, you might not have said the fool part, but that's how I felt.
Yeah, anyway. So, moving on by remote. So, I'm going to talk about another classic tale of an intrepid group of weirdos and misfits that are trying to find a land to call their own, to get away from the oppressive hunting of their species by a military type organization. These poor intrepid heroes being called the Gorgonites, and their pursuers, of course, being the Small Soldiers, the Joe Dante classic from 1998, Small Soldiers. I'm a big Joe Dante fan. I don't think he's done
a big
bad.
fan of Bone Thugs and Harmony's version of War on that soundtrack.
Oh right, I forgot about that. But it's a delightful little movie. It's a good movie for kids, but it's also fun for adults. It's got a lot of heart. It's got a very young Kirsten Dunst in it, which is always fun. And also Dennis Leary. It's this one. Phil Hartman, Jay Moore, Greg Smith, who's a Canadian actor. I think he's on the Rookie Blue or one of those sort of shows right now. Frank Langella as the voice of Archer, like Tommy Lee Jones, the voice of Chip Hazard, the bad guy. He's got a great voice, scored by Jerry Goldsmith, art by Stan Winston, a famous effects guy. Oh, yeah. A lot of practical effects done in this.
Stan Winston made The Thing.
Stan Winston did a lot of beautiful work. And written by Adam Rifkin, who's a famous scriptwriter as well. So check it out. Really fun little adventure movie, fun for the whole family. And similar themes to X-Men, just being a misfit, not being ugly in the eyes of the world, but a great little adventure. Where the mutants, the monsters are the good guys, and it's the normal people, the soldiers that are the real monsters here. So the basic idea is they are all toys outfitted with chips to have real-time war games with the kids playing with them, but they're too advanced. I believe they're used discontinued military chips for some kind of AI system that wasn't used, and it makes both levels of toys too intelligent to the point that the soldiers are chasing the Gorgonites to eradicate them, while the Gorgonites just want to be left alone. But they develop personalities and become their own little beings because of this technology. And and basically a war happens in a small kid's house. So between both sides.
Robin Williams movie Toys.
Vaguely, yeah. I remember that. I remember the cover more than the movie because he's wearing the red bowler hat with the square, and there's nothing through it. I don't remember much about that movie. I don't know if I even actually saw it.
It's weird.
Is it like Puppet Master?
Times from the Needs convenience store.
Ooh. Is it similar to the movie Puppet Master?
Doing? Playing with matches?
More than you think. It's 16-bit gaming with Super Nintendo Skelhorn. And I'm going to talk about a part 2 myself, since we're talking about part 2 today. Donkey Kong Country Part 2, Diddy Kong's Quest. This is an amazing game. Some argue better than the first one. I have more nostalgia for the first one, but the gameplay probably is a little better in this one. And of course, you get Dixie, so she can do her little helicopter twirl, which is awesome. So they're kind of probably a little bit of a cooler team than Donkey and Diddy, but Donkey Kong is great to have on there too. But I digress. It's a great game if you haven't played the first 2 Donkey Kong Countries. I mean, the third one's good too, but it gets a bit crazy hard. I mean, they're all decently challenging. But check it out. Diddy Kong's Quest. It still looks beautiful. These games are beautiful. The sound is great. The music, you can't go wrong. Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. Keep it short and simple.
Man, the cast for Toys starring Robin Williams is ridiculous. You got Robin Williams, Michael Gambon, old Dumbledore himself, Joan Cusack, Robin Wright, formerly
Joan
Robin
Cusack
Wright
was
Penn,
in everything back in those days.
LL Cool J, Jamie Foxx, Yardley Smith. Everybody's in this.
Oh wow, Yardley Smith.
Lisa Simpson herself.
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of Lisa Simpson's, well, we'll talk about plugs in a minute here, I guess.
Will we?
Let's do a quick round of guess the statistics.
Ooh.
Do I not have a banner for that anymore?
Been a while since we've done this.
Yeah, apparently I didn't even bring my banner over from when I got a new computer. Well, we'll fix that right now. Since it's such a great name. Guess the statistics. There we go. That's what we're playing here. This is where I look at my 1992 set of Marvel cards. Yep, 92. My favorite set ever. There's Spidey. He was card number 1. Probably because he's, the greatest comic book, nay, literature character of all time. Storm's probably number 2. So, Andre, let's here's an interesting one. I wonder if we've done this. Quicksilver, your favorite character.
One of them, for sure.
Yeah. So, his strength, Andre, what would you think Quicksilver's strength would be?
1.
2.
Yeah, I was going to guess 2. I should have guessed 2.
Intelligence.
2.
2. Energy projection.
0. 1, I guess. 1 is the bottom, right?
1's the lowest. Yeah. And 7's the highest.
Yeah.
Mental powers.
1.
1. Fighting ability.
2.
3.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You really don't want to be in a karate match with that guy.
I guess, but it's not the fighting that it's the speed. Anyway.
Speed.
5.
4.
Really? Oh, come
That's
on.
Debatable. Yeah, that's why I just
It should
read
be a
this one
5.
off. I thought it might ruffle your feathers.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah, right. You know what? This is a fun one. It's not X-Men, but a classic character nonetheless.
Ooh, the Incredible
Incredible
Hulk
Hulk.
himself. The Smart Hulk, too. Strength.
Tis Smart Hulk. Yep.
I mean, they wanted to say 7, but I mean, this is counting cosmic people. 6? I want to say 5,
7.
but really? They went 7? Okay.
It's infinite. Like there's no upper. It's like an omega.
Yeah, but that wasn't established when this came up. This came out.
What? I think it probably was.
I don't think it was.
Intelligence.
This one he was Smart Hulk, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
4, 5, 4, 5, 5.
5.
Yeah,
Nailed
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Energy projection.
0, 1.
Mental powers.
1.
Fighting ability. How good can the Hulk? They're taking some fisticuffs.
5.
Oh wow. No, 3.
Oh, okay.
Mostly just a brute. And speed.
2. So you can jump pretty fast. Is it 1?
Yeah, it's 2.
Yeah, okay, 2.
Yeah,
I was right with that one.
He can probably run a little faster than that.
Yeah, that's true. He is big, so he can, yeah.
And here's a fun one since he was in the episode.
Black Panther. I used to always love how, I think it was Trevor Noah used to make fun of Forrest Whitaker's South African accent in Black Panther. He'd be like, Blick Panther, the Blick Panther. He's Blick, the Blick Panther.
Son of Badu.
Son of Badu, Blick Panther. He's Blick.
Yeah, man, he's probably got a better African accent than we're in Africa. He probably fits in somewhere. Who knows?
Fair
He's
enough.
a good actor. He's played Africa.
Oh, he's a great actor. Fantastic actor.
He was crazy as Idi Amin actually in Last King of Scotland.
Yeah, so I think that's like one of, if not the first movie my wife. Is it one of
MZ loves guess the statistics. Well,
oh, good MZ.
I like this segment too.
He was one of the, I think one of the first movies Jen and I watched together was that one, The Last King of Scotland, when we started dating.
That's a hard one to watch.
It was a real makeup movie. I'm kidding.
All right. Black Panther's strength.
3.
2.
Okay.
Intelligence.
2.
What? He's a genius level.
Oh,
genius.
right. Sorry. 3.
Jeez, 5.
He's a 5, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
In the comics, like he's the one that's good with tech, not Shuri.
Mm.
Like, he can do all that stuff. Energy projection.
1.
Mental powers.
1.
Fighting ability.
5.
4.
Yeah. Fuck, I'm always 1 off.
And speed.
2.
Yes.
Yeah.
That seems to be the standard superhero level All right, we'll do one. My beloved Storm.
Oh,
Okay. So, strength.
1.
2.
Okay.
Intelligence.
I mean, what's it like? Is 1 an idiot? Is 3 a normal person?
1 would probably be like the Juggernaut.
So 3 would be like a normal person then, because like 4 and 5 are like genius
Like
level people.
2 would probably be normal person.
Well, I would say 2 then for her, if that's the line.
3.
Yeah, I was gonna guess 3, but then I was thinking of 2
She's
as
above
normal.
average.
Yeah, okay.
Energy projection. Interesting. I think we've done hers before.
I think we did.
Yeah, we're skipping this one.
All right.
I'll just finish it. It's the energy projection. They gave her a 1, and they gave her mental powers a 6. Remember, we were arguing.
Right. Yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. All right, let me pick one more. Have we ever done? Oh well, if you've just seen Black Panther, there's Namor.
Namor, as he's called in the episode.
Wolverine.
Yeah, I'm down for any of those.
Or Professor Xavier.
Yeah, pick one. You're the crazy pick guy. I'm just here. I'm just the monkey that dances on command.
Let's go with Namor.
You mean Namor?
Namor, yes, Namor. Imperious Rex himself. His strength, Andre.
5.
6. Ooh,
God damn it. That's
I
like he's
I
1 below the Hulk.
myself.
Man, this is a hard. I don't know, man.
It was Ed said Rhino is a 1 in intelligence. Yeah, that's also fair.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Intelligence for Namor.
4.
3. Energy projection.
Yeah, 1.
Mental powers.
Is it like talking to fish would count? Like influencing sea life? 3.
2.
Yeah. Okay.
Fighting ability.
5.
4.
Man, always one off.
Speed.
Is this counting swimming?
I'm thinking no.
2.
It should. 2. Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like he's maybe a little faster than that. He can fly pretty quick too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of these are contestable, perhaps. But that's basically the end of our show here. You can. Oh wait, there is one more thing, of course.
The plugging.
All I need now is for you to contact your students, Professor.
Homework from Professor Andre. What do you got?
Well, Devin, I got a little question for you. What do Petridge Firm and Professor X have in common?
A goldfish.
No, they remember. Petridge Farm remembers. And next episode, Charles Xavier remembers, as the episode is called. Xavier Remembers, episode 5 of season 4.
We're going to get a lot of the questions answered that we've had about the original team and stuff answered in this next one.
Well, on the little picture they show of the team in the little thumbnail, it looks like the basic synopsis here says that Xavier, where's that here? I just had it there. Professor Xavier suffers a. Oh no! Go back, you stupid. This Disney Plus menu is not great. Professor X suffers a slight concussion, leaving him open to manipulation. But the thumbnail shows him hanging out with like the X-Men in their old costumes. Like Wolverine's got his old costume, Rogue's got her old costume, Storm's wearing her old black costume. For some reason, Jubilee's there, which doesn't make sense. And also, Iceman and the other X-Men are all in their yellow and blue costumes. Iceman, Angel, who's
call it Xavier misremembers.
Yeah, because Angel was not a member of the X-Men apparently in the previous episode.
Those are the things I think we're going to get an answer to.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's gonna. Yeah,
it'd be cool if they did, but I also feel like they
Tie
probably
some of
weren't
that
too
up.
worried about kids remembering what they watched 3 seasons ago on TV. This is before DVD, and people were really watching this outside of TV. So you don't remember. You said you don't even remember most of the season earlier when we talked about it.
This season, I don't. I don't even know if I've seen this season. I thought I had.
Well, then it'll be good. You'll be experiencing it for the first time.
But maybe I hadn't seen 4. Well, no, because I've seen I've seen Sanctuary. Maybe not though. I don't know. My memory's
Sanctuary.
Support the show at patreon.com/X-Men Review Show, like Daniel. Contact us at xmenreviewshow@gmail.com. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Find our audio-only version wherever you get your podcasts. Please like, review, and subscribe. That would be great. It will help other people find our lovely little podcast. And we are a proud member of the United Federation of Podcasts. That is also true. You saw Murphy pipe up earlier about the nice 1080p. We are in 1080p quality now. Look at that. Look how crisp we are.
Is that because we got the pro level of
Yep.
Nice. It's funny. I always thought it was my camera, but that makes sense that it was the program, because I was like, it's a fairly high end camera, and I was like, it should be pretty good. But anyway, that's interesting to know. We look amazing. What a handsome
face.
What a handsome crew we make.
It's true.
All right, which one of us is more handsome? Vote now on. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
it's Davan. We all know it is. No, it's you. You still have your hair.
I do still have my hair, yet I hide it all the time. But it's there. Check out Hold Up, a Movie podcast. Normally we're on Wednesdays, but this week Dave had leaf tickets, cousin Dave, who was going to join us as a guest, so we're going to do it Thursday. And it's about political movies, and it's going to be fiery. Oh my God. This is going to be an explosive episode.
Fire!
It may break up the family. It's going to be nuts. Also check out Super Mater Brothers. They do reality show reviews. Check out, well, Andre, why don't you tell us a little bit about this little show here?
Well, it's called the Graphic Histories Podcast, and it is my podcast. It was what I was doing before I joined this one, and I'm still doing. And as such, I interview people related to comics or film or any kind of general nerddom or geekdom, and chat with them for a while. The last episode was part 1 with Frank Forstall, who is an amazing artist locally, son of famous Nova Scotian painter Tom Forstall. But finding his own voice and doing some really disturbing, kind of fun, beautiful, fantastical artwork. He made some films and some other work in different mediums, so we talk about all that. The second part's very interesting. We discuss existential angst, also a lot more about folk horror. We talk about mental health and about finding a way out of it through dream visitors, and almost kind of a Lynchian twist. And also, I discovered that apparently the movie Beloved with Oprah Winfrey was a ghost story, which I didn't know anything about. That the way that movie was sold to me as a kid was it was just Another Color Purple, or it's some sad drama stuff about the Civil War. But apparently, there's exorcisms, there's hauntings, there's ghosts. It's a whole folk horror kind of movie, and I didn't even know about this. So now I'm going to have to go look it up, but we talk about that as well. The next episode of that drops this Friday, which will be part 2. And then after that, I have David Cullen, who did work for Marvel, a lot of backup stories for What If, including the some of the comedy, mostly the comedy ones. So there was a backup in 2. Actually, I should have brought it up to show you, but there's a backup. He has 1-page backups in a couple of issues. One being What If Keith Richards led the Fantastic Four instead of Reed Richards.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And also the one after it, which is What If Wolverine was the worst he is at what he does instead of the best, which is also quite funny. It's mostly just him falling and not being able to actually like catch anybody and all this other stuff. So it's a hoot. He's a really interesting guy. He does a lot of storyboard work now, and has some amazing stories about working with Robert Eggers on The Lighthouse, the A24 film. Oh, wow. And how close he worked very closely with that director and the cinematographer. And he's worked on the Lex. He worked on a bunch of crazy shows from around and fairly famous movies and Books of Blood and other things that are out in the States. So Yeah, really making a lot of work in storyboarding, but still working in the comic medium with stuff like that. So we chat. That one actually was very long as well. I kind of really like my long conversations. They're fun. I don't like to edit too much because I feel like I don't know. It streamlines the conversation to a point that I kind of doesn't feel natural, and I kind of like feeling like you're dropping in on a conversation. So yeah, I'm going to. I'll probably do mild editing to it, very little, in fact, and probably put another two-parter up with. The two-parters are great because then I don't have to struggle to find a guest for the next week. So or for 2 weeks from then. So it's always nice when I can get away with those. I don't normally like to do them back to back, but David was a great guest and had a lot to say, and I had a lot of fun talking to him. Very interesting guy. So yeah, check that one out next.
Your in-depth interviews with interesting people.
That's right.
Yeah, there's KBBBL, where 3 uninteresting people talk about the Simpsons. We get.
What's the extra B for
over there? Last week it was for Bigfoot because it was the Call of the Simpsons episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But we're having fun over there. We have a history segment. We have a philosophy segment. We have fun games like we do on this show, but different games.
Ooh,
so very fun. Check that out.
Before we're
debates
done this evening, I want to ask you something. So finish up what you're doing. But
yeah.
All right, go ahead. You go.
Trivia debates. They're gonna do reality shows.
Oh God, I would not be
Sunday,
good at that.
January 29th. No, me neither. But those 3 will. Let's cut. Look, the battle of the Maters there. Dave versus Jeff. Oh my.
It's a lot of Mater. It's a lot of Mater.
Jameel's the host with the most over there.
I like Jameel's glamour shot there. That's very nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Very good. Also check out the Hellbound podcast with Alex Blackburn, Michael Chan.
I've added that to my podcast list. I'm going to listen to that soon.
Oh, very good. Let me know. Let them know how you feel about it. Yeah, Live Long podcast. I do my Computers of Trek stuff over there. They do episode reviews in the Command Division. We do Star Trek Radio Theater in the Ops Division. And in the Science Division, I do all kinds of crazy things. We launch probes, we do trivia, we do debates. We learn, and have fun at the same time. Yeah, that's it. What do you want to ask me?
Well, 2 things. I did add a little stinger on my podcast now that say I'm a member of the which you can listen for in the next one. I'm a proud member of the United Federation of Podcasts. I was running a lot before you guys got this off the ground. I kind of had my own thing going, but now I've been absorbed into your little cadre, and it's great. But other 2. One quick question, just for fun. What do you think is the worst movie that has the best soundtrack?
Worst movie with the best soundtrack. Wow, that's a great question.
Mm-hmm. If you would have asked me when I was a teenager, I would have said Queen of the Damned. But
bad one.
Yeah, that's not a great movie. But I think if you ask me now, it'd probably be Sucker Punch because I think that movie sucks, but the soundtrack was really good. So.
I don't even know if I have an answer for you.
Well, my question for you was to ask you about if you had seen the because we sometimes discuss what's going on in the wider world of nerddom and Marvel cinematic stuff. Did you watch the new Ant-Man trailer today?
I did.
Doesn't it look fucking awesome?
Yeah, it's got MODOK.
Yeah, who
Kang
I think
looks amazing.
Kang is probably one of, if not the most accurate comic costume I've seen yet from Marvel.
Yeah.
I love the idea of making scars on his face to make the lines, which I thought was a cool addition. And with the eyes, like there's some stills that you can see with the eyes glowing white with the blue mask on and all that. And man, it looks cool. He looks so good. It's so good.
It looks crazy too. It's gonna be crazier than Multiverse of Madness, that's for sure.
And they released a poster, which isn't just the normal floating heads poster. It actually is a really artsy kind of cool poster, which I think is beautiful. It's the first time Marvel's actually done a different type of poster. It's not just something they
wasn't on the poster though. A little disappointed there.
Well, we did get a brief glimpse of him, although I think there's like a screen cap rolling around that shows MODOK on the screen behind Kang, and it's the face of Darren Cross on it. Instead of like the face changes.
Was it the face? Was
so
it the face of Darren Cross? I saw the one where you could see his teeth and stuff.
Yeah, that's like the robot face. You can see the Funko of that one. It shows basically what he looks like. But there's one that
the mask. I think. Oh, maybe.
No, the mask. He's like a robot. Is what he looks like in the
Is
the
it
Funko
really
Pop.
Darren Cross?
Well, I think that's the rumor is that it's that Yellow Jacket survived.
I had heard that rumor a while ago. But,
well, actually, there's a rumor going for a long time that it was going to be Jim Carrey who was playing MODOK. So, but anyway, it looks amazing. It looks like it's a really elevating Ant-Man. Apparently, the director Peyton Reed said that he was kind of tired of people saying that Ant-Man movies were just not tired, but people would always say the Ant-Man movies were sort of a smaller scale story compared to what's going on in the rest of the world. So he wanted to make it an Avengers level story and did it for this one, and it looks awesome. Like, see, this might be. I don't want to see Scott Lang die, but if we have to, this looks like it'll be a cool way to do it. But I love that them all beating each other up, and he says, "You think you're going to win?" He says, "I don't have to win. We both just have to lose." And I think that's a great line, and I'm curious to see what all that's going to shake down into.
Ominous.
Oh, Kang has always been one of my all-time favorite comics villains, and I've actually been really jonesing to read Kurt Busiek and Quesada's run on the Avengers. I have all the trades for it, the Avengers Assemble storyline, which I know has the Nuff Said episode where Kang takes over the America in it. Yep, I have all those trades. So, yep, I have that one. I have that same set. It took me forever. I got 1, 3, 4, and 5, which is yeah, I know. I had the sets 1, 3, 4, and 5 forever, but 2 was really hard to find because they never reprinted it. No, I got all of them now. Strange Avengers had a sale years ago, and I picked them all up for pretty cheap. And then
you said Quesada, but it's George Perez.
Oh, Perez. Sorry, Perez. You're right. It is Perez. George Perez. Dearly departed George Perez. But yeah, it's gorgeous. And if you want an extra comic recommendation, since Mr. Perez is no longer with us, go check out his Justice League Avengers crossover, which is fantastic. But yeah, I'm very excited. I'm going to go probably read that whole set in the coming weeks because I really want to. It feels like it's calling me. I feel like there's some great Kang stuff in that I got to check out. So.
Sometimes you just need a little Avengers in your life.
That's right. Also, look up. Sorry, one last thing. Yeah, Ukla the Mock, who does my theme song for the Graphic Histories podcast. They have a song. I had them on my show a while ago, and they're fantastic. But I kickstarted their last album. One of the members, not Rand, but Adam, had a stroke years ago, so he's not sure he's going to be able to play anymore in the future. So the band, that iteration of the band, the two of them may be gone. But their last album was called Ukla the Mock versus Evil, which is fantastic, and just recently got released on vinyl. It was a Kickstarter, not a Kickstarter, one of those Needle Juice or something did it. But anyway, they had the two albums, and I listened to it when it arrived finally the other day. And they have a song called Kang the Conqueror. It's on all the streaming services. Look it up. But it's do yourself a favor and listen to it. You'll have a good laugh. Basically, the storyline is the chorus just says everybody's Kang the Conqueror, and
everyone is Kang.
I actually really like the idea so much. I wrote kind of a fun story about a world where a time traveler basically makes the entire world himself. Everybody's just versions of himself, and I think it was kind of fun.
Mr. Sinister has done that.
Oh, has he? That was original. Damn it! Nothing's original. I got to learn that.
No, that's true. Zeitgeist is real. That's why I hear it. All right, let's get out of here.
All right.
Catch you next time, everybody.
Next time.
1, 2, 3.